Okay. So we have Nicholas M versus Willie E.
Ooh, and we got a visitor.
We have a visitor. Hey.
Your stream's on this.
Oh no, we're on here. It's just there's a delay. There's a delay.
On.
There's a delay. You tell him. Okay. So you're familiar with the white side of this game?
Oh god, another French opening.
This is not this is not a. No, I meant Nicholas.
Yeah. We have Nick and who's that? Willie. I know Willie too.
You know Willie also. How do you know both these?
Very vaguely, just from the last tournament.
Okay. What can you tell me about their performances in the last event?
Willie also spent a lot of time on board one. So he might be very comfortable there.
Okay.
He might have that advantage.
He's kind of got that like monk body language going on right now,
Yeah,
you know. It's
call.
like he could be like just meditating, like his thumbs just touching each other.
Good call. Do you have any idea what this opening is?
You know what? It's a little bit ambiguous to me because white's C pawn has been exchanged for black's E pawn, but it reminds me of like a Nimzo Larsen, which starts with like 1b3. It could have also been a d4 opening, but I'm sort of thinking a Nimzo Larsen, Kali, maybe a Kali actually. It could be a Kali. Which is characterized by a pawn on d4 and a bishop on b2. The pawns exchanging sort of confused me, but basically what I can expect from this position is both sides are going to play quite positionally for a while, and it's like when you have a pot on the stove and then you've put the lid on and then you heat up the water, and the water like heats up, adds like a lot of pressure, a lot of kinetic energy in there, and the lid starts to like shake. I think that's what's going to happen in this position.
Whoa.
It's going to be a lot of maneuvering for a while, and then eventually things are going to blast open, simmering to a boil, and just like eventually, boom, the pot just flies off.
That's a great visual. Great analogy. Thank you for the analogy.
I view chess very metaphorically.
Do you believe there's like a meditative component to it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for any art form or like any sport, right, there's like, you try to enter this like flow state in some ways where time slows down. I definitely think there's...
Unless the time is working against you.
Right. That's totally true.
Which is interesting here. Nick definitely took his time.
He did take his time on this move. Knight to h5. He's attacking the bishop on f6 because he thinks that black's bishop is quite strong. And I actually really agree with this decision. The interesting thing, Miriam, is if black plays bishop to e7 to retreat the bishop on f6, white can play d takes c5. And that doesn't just exchange a pawn, that uncovers. So bishop to e7, d takes c5, it uncovers this bishop to attack this g7 pawn, and white has two pieces attacking it. But interestingly, Willie just ignores it. He's like, I don't give a fuck. He's just like, all right, take my bishop, and Nick does that. So we have a position where white has the bishop pair. Black has two knights for it, but black does have slightly better control of the center.
Like a thick mustache.
Do you want to elaborate on that one? Like a thick mustache?
Well, when you have like that angle going on,
mm-hmm.
and it's overpowering the center, it's gonna be a thick mustache.
You're a big fan of thick mustaches. I'm
I
learning a lot not you today.
I'm gonna coin that term.
Like a thick mustache.
For a developed center, it's a thick mustache.
Okay, I'm curious to see how that one picks up. Like a thick mustache. Okay, I'm gonna try to understand that one.
Did you see Mean Girls?
I did, but it's been a while.
It's like fetch. You're never gonna make fetch happen.
Wait, which one? Who said that one? Line.
The girl with a lot of money and her dad.
Regina?
No, she was the one that said it to the girl. I forgot her name. But she was trying to make fetch happen as like a slang term, and Regina was like, "Stop saying that. It's never gonna happen."
Oh, okay. Interesting. I think that movie's like worth a rewatch. I've recently started thinking about it. I've only seen it like once.
How is Mean Girls like chess?
I guess we all hope we're the Lindsay Lohans of that movie. Is she like the winner in the end of that movie? I mean, she has the come up. She has the glow up. She has the glow up.
She does. She has the biggest character arc.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a character arc in chess? I guess if there's a narrative, right? There has to be a little bit.
Maybe there's a character arc for each piece. Maybe this knight or this pawn started off really badly, but eventually it came on to its own, sort of like Pinocchio being a real boy, becoming a real boy. Wait, did Pinocchio become a real boy at the end? He wanted to be.
Yeah.
He did, yeah. How did he?
He was... I forgot the word. It's like magically summoned by this spirit that told him like, okay, you can have another chance and you can come back to life.
This is after the whale scene, right?
Yeah.
There's a massive whale scene.
He sacrificed himself as a puppet, and then the spirit was like, you did good work.
It's honestly such a beautiful story. How did they come up with that back in like the 1930s? It's like in 1930s or something.
Yeah, but they made a new one. It's really good. It's on Netflix.
Is it like live action?
Yeah, it's stop motion.
What is stop motion?
It's not live action. They filmed clay pieces.
Oh, okay.
Take stop by take.
Like frame by frame. They're taking photos of that. That is insane to me. Yeah. Like how much work that is.
And in today's technology, it came out really, really good.
So like everything is like clay.
Oh. Yeah, like clay, like model pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever they need for that wood, mostly.
Interesting. Have you ever have you ever seen how Pixar movies are made?
A little bit. They have a lot of storyboards, and they have to hire different artists to actually draw out each scene. But they have director artists that will draw like the main like image of that scene.
Yeah. The fascinating thing is like they basically like have an insane amount of computing resources for it, and they basically they sort of replicate the physics of the real world. And so like the leaves blowing and like the sun rising, those are all like programmatically embedded in there. Okay. And once they have this replica of like an animated world, because it's all computer based, they can change like the angle that they're looking at it on. They can update the variable for the brightness and just like add the sun here so it adds this reflection and the shadow. Mm-hmm. It's the people at Pixar are brilliant. Yeah. It's crazy the amount of work that they put into those movies.
Well, they need a lot of discipline.
They do need a lot of discipline. I mean, like
to be at that level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of my favorite movies of all time are Pixar movies. I was a big fan of Toy Story as a kid. Yeah. Also, I almost like cried. I think I might have teared up a little bit during Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I don't think you couldn't.
You don't think you couldn't?
You can't not.
When Andy just like, it's time to move on.
Yeah, and they're like all like going like being summoned into like a ball fire of hell. Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I was feeling.
That's where I cried.
Really?
Where they were like slowly.
You thought they were gonna die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like graduating 8th grade, and on the last day of school, we all went to see that movie, and we all cried at that movie. At that scene, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was an intense movie. It was a great movie though. I feel like Toy Story 1 and 3 were the better ones, and 2 was like okay, but it wasn't bad. It was like a decent movie.
Just like Shrek.
Shrek? Wait, when is the third one? Have I seen
the third one is with Justin Timberlake playing the prince.
I don't know if I saw that one.
And there's his mom is like also a famous actress slash singer.
Okay. What is up with like the cult following of Shrek? I think they're good movies.
I love it. I love it.
You can't get enough Shrek.
No.
There's a lot of girls that I've met that like are super into that movie series. I think it's a good movie series. I just don't get the fascination of it.
Probably because of the second one, where they turned him into like the sexiest human alive. And women all over were like, "That's possible? You can be an ogre and look like that?"
Well, like Fiona was like a sexy woman, and then she turned into an ogre.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
we
the
already
reverse.
know that about women.
True. So it's like that's possible
For
with
men, the scale was like much more impressive for them to have made him look like that. Also, it was like we knew about Fiona from the start.
Yeah, it's
but
just
for
like
Shrek, it was very new and
it's like a pleasant surprise. It's like, ooh, I wasn't aware that I could like this ogre.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we got some huge developments going on.
Yeah, we do. So it looks like White is up a pawn right now, but Willie still has central control. However, the bishop pair, I think, is going to make a huge difference here, because normally bishop pair is like considered pretty good, but especially now so because the position is so open. So bishops are typically good in very open positions. They're sort of like snipers, right? They have longer range than the knights. Knights tend to be really good in closed positions where like you just kind of want to be able to jump from square to square to square, as opposed to just being able to like, snipe from like one side of the board to the other. And the thing about this position is it's quite open. Black does not have any central pawns right now, so I think Nick's bishops are going to just continue quite unopposed, and it's really up to Willie to figure out what's going on. But Miriam, do you see this time situation?
Yeah, that's throwing me off.
It's throwing me off too. I don't know how.
I think Willie is taking advantage though, quite nicely.
Of the time?
Yeah.
Clock. He's taking his time right now though. He is taking his time. It's probably a good decision, but yeah. I think White is better on the board. White's up a pawn. White has the bishop pair, but I don't know. Do you know if Nick is a fast player? Have you seen his speed before?
I have.
You have? Is it impressive, or is he like slow?
I think this is not the first time he's done this, where he takes up a lot of time at the beginning. That might be his
style. He's a time pressure addict. Interesting. G5, a very risky move by Willie. Knight H5. G5 is a super risky move. I really disagree with this decision, and actually, that's a blunder. Black just played bishop d5. If Nick finds rook takes c8, he wins material. He does not find rook takes c8. He plays queen d3. So the game continues, but it's still better for White.
But their rooks are looking at each other.
They are looking at each other, so Nick should have just taken the rook at first when he had the chance, but now it's not as good.
His mustache is not as thick. He doesn't have the confidence.
What is more important, the mustache or the beard? Because he does have like quite the...
He's got the beard going for him.
He's got the beard going for him. Okay, rook takes c1, rook takes c1. They both exchange rooks. Black is still down a pawn. White still has the bishop pair, and White is putting a lot of pressure on Black's king. This is why I really don't agree with when Willie played pawn from g7 to g5. It just opens up this king so much, and it gives Nick a way to actually close this position out with such little time. But it is still 3 minutes to 1 minute. Miriam, if I had to put a gun to your head and say you have to bet on one of these players, one of these positions, where are you throwing your chips?
Probably black.
Black. Because of the time.
He has the time going for him. He has some lines going for him that look like a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
White seems to be just kind of doing what feels right.
Yeah, but that's
which doesn't always go for you.
No, but I would disagree though, because when you're doing what feels right, it's easy to come up with moves, so you don't have to spend time thinking. So Nick just made that move in 3 seconds. And if he can continue just feeling his way into the position, playing very intuitively
Right.
rather than thinking super deeply, he's going to have enough time to win this game.
Right. Is that what you're betting?
I'm betting on white right
Yeah.
now. I'm betting on white. I think the time is a big factor. And oh my God, as I say that, 48 seconds? Like, this is not what I want to see if I'm a betting man. I am a betting man. I wish I could have bet on this game, but I would have lost the bet. No, this is so Nick is threatening checkmate, queen a7. He's threatening moving the queen from a7 to g7, which is covered by the knight, and so Willie blocks that with knight to e7. 38 seconds for Nick. A minute 45 for Willie. Knight takes f6. Willie's position is collapsing.
I was actually going to ask about the white knight move.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
he did it, so
he took
that
he took the free pawn on f6 again. Miriam, like, this pawn to g5 is a really bad move, and Nick plays knight takes h7. Oh, the bishop is covering it. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, that's a really hard one.
This is why bishops are so good in open positions. They just snipe. Knight to g5, rook to g7. Willie realizes that this is already it's kind of like you got to move. You just got to survive and you got to move. And I think Nick is getting nervous.
With 23 seconds, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, but he's playing a little too casually. Like, wouldn't you? Whoa, like, your body language would be different if you had 20 seconds, right? My body language would be very different in this position. I mean, of course, white is completely crushing, but you gotta hurry up. 17 seconds. Does he have enough time?
They're getting more even on time.
Oh, knight to d5. Discovered attack on the queen. Nick dodges it. Now what is Willie going to do? Knight to f6. This knight is hanging. He plays knight to f6. Pawn to e5. Knight to e4. Bishop to e1. Oh my God. This is literally... I think Willie's going to win on time. I don't see Nick converting this with enough time. But Willie's choosing a peculiar moment to spend his time. He plays queen f7, queen d3, and 20 seconds for Willie, 7 seconds for Nick. Nick has a completely crushing position. But does he have the time? He does not. 2, 1. He has 2 seconds. Oh my God. And it looks like he flagged.
Yeah.
But Willie has to claim it. And he claims it. Oh my God.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
Good game. Oh my God. And the two have good sportsmanship afterwards. You can just see Nick's face.
Yeah.
He knows that
That's
he
where
missed
all
out.
his tension comes out.
Yeah.
After the fact.